This happened spring break about 4 years ago. My girlfriend Anna wanted to do something low-key. She'd been talking about a cabin trip for months, just somewhere to disappear for a few days with no obligations. Her brother Hunter was on break from school and was staying with us at the time anyway, so he came too. I found a place online. It was pretty deep in the woods, which was the point, and it was cheaper than it had any right to be. I remember thinking that briefly, and then not thinking about it again. We got there Friday night around dinner time. The place felt genuinely cut off. You couldn't see the road you'd driven on from the front porch, which I actually liked at the time. There was an outbuilding off to the side of the property, like a large shed which was padlocked. Hunter played with the lock for a second and said it looked new, like it had been swapped out recently. I said it was probably just the owner keeping equipment in there. We didn't really think much of it. It was getting dark, so we went inside and immediately started making dinner. That first night was fine. We had a few drinks on the porch and went to bed pretty early.
At least it's cozy on the porch.
I can't remember exactly when, but it started lightly raining at some point. The woods were really loud, which was a major surprise, at least to me. It was this constant wall of insects and frogs, and something about it was actually really calming. I do want to mention that at some point before falling asleep that night, I heard something bigger moving around out there. Although, I figured it was just a deer. I fell asleep not long after that. What woke me up was a sound like something hitting the side of the cabin. I don't know what time it was exactly. Let's just say 2. I froze there in bed for a minute, wondering if what I heard was just part of my dream or not. Right when I was about to try falling back asleep, I heard another thump, which sounded identical to the first one.
Stay back, Emily.
I rolled over to see if Anna was awake, but she wasn't, so it was up to me to investigate. I really didn't want to, but if there was a bear poking around out there, it would have been better to know about it than to not know. So, I reluctantly got out of bed and grabbed one of our flashlights. I didn't want to go outside, but the outdoor visibility through the cabin windows was limited. Despite that, I noticed what appeared to be footsteps on the ground near the outbuilding, which was incredibly alarming. Those footprints could not have been ours because none of us had been outside the cabin after the rain had started, at least not to my knowledge. I reasoned that it was possible Hunter had gone out there without me realizing, so I figured I'd ask him in the morning. Still, I was pretty confident that he wouldn't have done that, which made the situation all the more eerie. The footprints didn't look like an animal's, although they were too far away to tell for sure. And if I had been unwilling to go outside earlier, there was absolutely no chance I was doing so after seeing what I saw. I made sure the place was locked up and went back to sleep. Unfortunately, the night was far from over. I woke up a few hours later to knocking on the front door, which is one of the most terrifying things I can imagine waking up to. Hearing that knocking meant there was a stranger out there, which actually got my heart going a little bit. It was just so late. I couldn't think of a good reason why someone would be knocking on a cabin door in the middle of nowhere at 4 a.m.
Ryan, the knocking, it's getting
louder. The knocking woke up Anna, who was about 10 times more scared than I was.
It's coming from outside.
I had to do something.
Ryan, leave me alone!
So, I walked over to the door. Before I could even announce myself, the person on the other side said he was a forest ranger and that there had been some kind of incident in the area and he needed to do a welfare check. I paused a bit before responding, mostly out of fear. But it was obvious he already knew I was there.
What do you want?
I told him we were all good and didn't need to be checked up on,
Not until you tell me
saying
who
I
you
just
are.
wanted to get back to sleep.
No time. Open the door.
I thought that would do the trick,
Ryan, you
because
need
he
to leave
paused for a
now.
little while before
I
saying
won't ask you
anything.
again. Get out.
But then, instead
No,
of leaving,
I'm not
he
leaving.
said he'd need to ask us
Then
a
you
few
leave me no
questions.
choice.
I was instantly
I know
suspicious,
you're in there,
and I was
Ryan,
almost
open up.
fully confident the person
You
on the
can't
other side of
hide
the door
forever. We
was
need
not
to
any
talk.
kind of law enforcement.
Don't
At
make
that
this
point,
harder.
Hunter
Open
had
the
woken
door
up
now.
too and was standing behind me. I whispered to him to call the police, saying I'd
We
stall
have
the
to be
guy at the
quiet.
door.
It's listening.
I went back and forth with
What do
him,
you see?
giving him nothing answers
The door.
without telegraphing my
move.
suspicion.
Okay.
After a little back
Checking
and
the
forth,
signal.
Hunter walked up to
Hurry,
me
it's getting
and whispered
closer.
that the police said no rangers had been
I need
dispatched
help.
to the
There's a
area.
break-in. Okay,
That's
stay
what I
calm.
suspected.
Help is on the way.
But hearing
How long?
Hunter
Please, hurry.
actually
Sir, no
vocalize it
rangers
made
were
my
dispatched.
heart rate
What?
kick
No.
up again.
Ryan,
I was
open this door
scared
now.
and downright
Tyler, I can't
panicking
right
at that
now.
point.
What are you hiding?
It was
Let
4
me in.
a.m.
It's not a good time.
We were
please.
truly in the middle of
Enough! I'm
nowhere,
coming in.
and some guy was
Wait!
banging on the door
Ryan,
pretending to
listen.
be a ranger.
Closer than we thought.
I don't know
How
how,
close?
but it
Close
felt like
enough to
the
be here
person on
by
the porch
nightfall.
could sense my fear
So it's
because
real.
he raised his
The
voice
danger is real.
and started banging on the door a little harder. I told the person I wasn't going to open up, and I wasn't going to answer any questions, which only seemed to anger him.
Open this door.
He started demanding
I
I
can't
open the
open
door,
it.
threatening to kick it down and telling me I'd be arrested for failure to comply. That's when Anna screamed at
You
him to
can't
go
hide
away,
in there.
which only made things worse.
This is
He started kicking the door, and when it didn't give, he stomped around the
Not
cabin.
until I get what I came for.
I yelled at Anna to go lock herself in the bathroom,
Emily, run! Go
which she
now!
did. Hunter and I grabbed some knives from the kitchen and just kind of tracked the guy's sounds around the cabin. I was beyond terrified, but I had no choice but to prepare for a fight. This guy meant us harm. This guy was trying to break into our cabin and kill us. Before I could react, one of the windows shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. That guy had thrown a rock through it. I was ready for him to jump through, but he didn't. It was the tensest moment of my life. After what felt like forever, with Hunter and me just staring at a broken window, I heard police sirens approaching. I'll fast forward through this next part. The police searched the area, but miraculously, they couldn't find the guy. Hunter was furious. He was practically yelling at the officers that the freak had been on the property less than a minute
happened to the
before they
window?
arrived.
Sir, you need to
So
calm
he had
down.
to be close by
Calm down, you
still.
need to do something.
The officer
not
said there was
accepting
nothing
that.
they could do
We have to go.
and advised us to
Now.
just pack
How?
up and
We're
leave.
exhausted.
Grab the gear. We move.
So that's exactly what we did. It's not like we had much of a choice. But Hunter wouldn't let go of how incompetent those officers were being. It was only after the fear and adrenaline wore off and we were driving away that I realized how truly insane what just happened was. For someone to even know about that cabin in the first place was so unlikely. It was like they planned it. And what they even wanted was a mystery in and of itself. All in all, it was an extremely uncomfortable and unsettling experience.